Hi everyone, good afternoon and welcome to Day 5 of the FINA Women's Intercontinental Tournament. We are underway with China taking on Japan, the final day of action before we get to the medal round, alongside USA Water Polo's Chief High Performance Officer John Abdu. Greg Meskel here with you from the UC Davis Shaw Aquatic Center. And that's China in the white caps, Japan in the light. And yesterday it was China suffering a 9-7 loss to Kazakhstan. Japan at a 8-3 loss to Australia, so two teams coming off losses, a chance to get back in the win column. And John, we talked about it yesterday with Dan Layson on the broadcast, but Japan really kind of a fun style to watch. They bring a different look to the game, going up against a China team that has not played up to, I think, their hopes this week in Davis. Yeah,
it's an accurate description there, Greg. You're going to see two teams here that both desperately want this win. Probably China more so than Japan, but this Japan team has already qualified for World League Super Final.
Yep.
That'll be played in China. And by nature of hosting the event, China has also qualified. So, in a sense, this game is meant for training, it's meant for development. So I would imagine that both coaches here use this as an opportunity to work on things that could help these teams be successful in China in June.
And you got to throw a little pride in the mix here as well. You think back, and we talked about it a bit at length yesterday, but there was a time where China would play Japan, and this wouldn't even have been a game. China would have crushed this team by about 10 goals. And that gap has closed as Japan has really stepped up their training and development ahead of the 2020 Olympics.
Yeah, no doubt. I think this Japanese Water Polo Federation has put a lot of resources and attention into the detail of developing their national teams on both the men's and women's side in hopes of knowing that they can be competitive in 2020. We saw the same thing with Brazil in the last quad. Put a lot of money into water polo trying to get themselves ready to compete, and they did. The men's side and the women's side both fared well in hosting the games. And so what we hope is, in terms of our global efforts of the sport, that doesn't just last for 4 years, that hopefully it lasts beyond that.
So China goes with their reserve keeper in the net, Shi Yuting. Japan, their normal starter, Miyu Aoki. And a breather for Peng Lin for China, who came in leading this tournament in saves. So she gets a chance to take a seat for the moment, as you alluded to, a game that not pivotal to the standings as we look towards tomorrow in the medal rounds. We already know our gold medal matchup is set, USA and Australia. That'll be tonight's final game at 7:10 p.m. And coming up next, of course, Kazakhstan and Canada will get together. So a couple of good games on the way here before medals awarded tomorrow. Here's a counter for Japan. Moving in now, unguarded, a look, and put it away for Japan. And number 9, Kana Hosoya, hitting for the first goal of this game. And no one picked her up, John.
Yeah, that was poor transition defense there for Team China as we get a second look here. You want to see that defender make a move towards the ball, right? You almost even actually in transition. It was a 3-on-3, but without pressing the ball. But good finish there for Japan to get the first goal of the game.
And we saw it earlier in the week when China played, and Coach Layson telling us about this yesterday, but there is a large Chinese student population on campus here at UC Davis, so their games have been pretty decently attended. Fans bring signs, flags, cheering along with the team, taking photos after the game, so that's added kind of a fun wrinkle to this event here in Davis.
Yeah, I see a lot of these students and young fans in the stands right now, but pretty cool and they'll have something to cheer for here as China draws the 5-meter penalty shot.
And a chance here stepping up will be Deng Ziwen to try and bury the penalty here and even things up at 1 as we approach the halfway mark of this first period. And scores it. So there's a goal for Deng Ziwen and China. I thought that was just a touch close maybe to a hesitation there on the penalty try, but
just a little
getting the shot off.
There was a little bit of a delay as you get a second chance here, and a little bit of the chuckle is sometimes the referees can call this as she kind of delayed to bring the ball up right before she shot. But in any case, she gets the goal and gets the fist pump to the young Chinese fans in the stands here from UC Davis.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, right, the rule there, all in one motion. What if you just really slowed it down and you kind of were deliberate about it? And that's kind of the line that she was towing there.
Absolutely.
Quick turn, and that's off the mark, just to the outside. Nice idea there on the restart from Memori Yamamoto. Halfway mark of this first period. Then China will control. Just about halfway gone. First period, 1-1. China and Japan, the first of 3 here.
Yeah, that was
From day 5 at the FINA Women's Intercontinental Tournament. Great week of water polo here at UC Davis. And don't forget, join the conversation, whether you're chiming in with comments on the Facebook live stream or on social media. Use the hashtag FINA Davis. Offer your thoughts on this event. Some great support yesterday. Backhand here. Beautiful save. Aoki with the right hand, batting that one away. And it'll come back in at 2 meters. And a new opportunity here for China with 4:10 to play in the first.
Good goalie play for Japan is going to be really important as they play such a high-risk style of defense. So anytime that you're going to play this high-risk type of zones and moving and gapping, if you can get your goalie to make some saves, it becomes effective. If not, then you're really vulnerable.
Yeah, they stretch the pool out, use speed to their advantage. Non-traditional as far as center play goes. Don't really use a center all that often, and kind of avoid traditional center defense until they really have to.
Right.
And it's been fun. It's as the shot there is deflected, it's kind of led to a fairly brisk pace of play depending on their opponent, kind of up and down, because they're not going to be the ones that are drawing exclusions all that heavily.
Right. Either way, it sets people back, and their men's team plays a similar style as well. And you saw in Rio, they had some really big wins out in Rio against and really pushed some teams to the limit. Almost pushed eventual gold medal Serbia. As you see the contrafoul at 2 meters there, the eventual gold medal winner Serbia had a very difficult time trailing most of the game against Japan down there in Rio. So that type of style you really need to adjust to, and if you're not prepared, you're going to be challenged.
Beautiful spin and score. Nicely done. Second effort there from Shino Magariyama, one of the veterans of this Japanese team, and it's a 2-1 lead for Japan. Great second effort there. Seemed to be a broken play. She's able to gather and spin through defenders.
Yeah, take a look here, and it's all this driving and the movement. She has inside water, defender on her back. Continues to work, continues to move, never lets go of the ball, isn't looking for the call and puts it away. There's a lesson learned. Not waiting for the referee to help you, hanging on to the ball till you score the goal.
Going back to your point, though, about Rio, that was a game that folks were sweating out. It was almost disbelief. I think we might have been together at that time, kind of looking at the scores and seeing, hey, is this actually happening right now? Japan's on the verge here. And, of course, Serbia able to prevail and then go on to the gold medal. But nice to see a little bit of balance there among some of the competitors in the Olympics.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's why we play these games, right? These games are played. Is what we hope for. We hope for these types of upsets. And, you know, had Serbia lost that game, things could have been very, very different in Rio. As we see a complete turn now inside.
Goalie comes out, and a steal there. China was effective at 2 meters yesterday in their game against Kazakhstan. They outdrew the Kazakhstan squad in exclusions and really benefited from that style of play. And they looked more for number 3, Tian Jianning, to kind of dominate around 2 meters, and she was tough to handle, as was Ziwen as the shot there sails high.
Actually, Team China has traditionally had some very strong centers over the years, and we've covered a lot of their games as we've hosted them several times in the States in terms of common training and holiday cups and different things we've had over the last several years. And you know, they've always been impressive inside, and frankly, when they have their full complement of athletes, lefties and everything, great shooters as well. As we see a big save inside as well for Team China.
Yeah, we talked about this a bit yesterday, but you go back to the 08 team and the former Arizona State standout, Ao Gao, and she was just very difficult to deal with at 2 meters. And I want to say Sun Ya-Ting was also a tough center. Moving on, as here's a counter now for Japan. Cruising in. Nice save. Yu Ting able to bat that one away, got the shoulders up, and it'll come back in at 2 meters. But, yeah, and that's why this has been a bit of a surprise. You recall China in that medal round at the 2011 World Championships leading up to London, and they've had a couple of different coaches and have fallen off a bit here as of late compared to where they were a couple of years back.
Yeah, and Sun Ya-Ting, I think you were talking about the center before. One of the strongest centers internationally for many years. Not here, this tournament, but one of the veterans on the squad, and someone who gave a lot of USA defenders, Australian defenders, a hard time in this tournament in the last few years.
Nice defensive job there by China after Japan gets a couple of cracks at it. A little over a minute to go, first quarter. 2-1, Japan in front. And another steal. This time stepping in front. Sakanue able to take that one back for Japan. coolest day we've had all week here in Davis. It was a heat wave the first 3 days of this tournament. Temperatures up in the hundreds, and that broke really yesterday, and then today downright cool in some respects, low 70s.
Yeah.
And that can certainly play a difference. I know these athletes are in the water, but when it gets to be that hot, fatigue certainly playing a factor. Real battle there at 2 meters, and you're going to see an exclusion here against Japan. And that was a little back and forth. Looked like the defender was the one caught last, as Sakanue will go off, and a 6-on-5 here for China. They'll call for timeout with 30 seconds left. Offensive player was definitely getting their shots in as well there, 2 meters.
Yeah, no doubt, and for everyone always watching at home, that's always one of the first places you want to look, right? You want to look at the 2-meter center, the 2-meter line, and look at that battle between the center and the defender and see what comes of it. And generally speaking, it can be a little confusing because you'll see blows thrown both ways, and then you'll see the defender be excluded, and you'll wonder why is that the case? And it's probably one of those situations right now where you're wondering why was the defender excluded when the center turned around and kind of struck the defender a couple times. But in general, that's what the officials, that's what the referees are looking for. They're looking at that battle, and that's what sets up these 6-on-5 opportunities, these player advantage opportunities, which, Greg, as well as anyone, decide the game at the end. These scoring opportunities, generally speaking, the team that wins the ratio here on these is the winner of the game.
Oh, you are spot on with that. And those stats back you up, and it's funny you talk about the idea of getting called for a controversy and exclusion. It kind of reminds you if anyone watching grew up with a sibling, a brother or a sister, and you get into a fight, and it's who did mom and dad see last? Throw that punch or push somebody, and that's the one who's going to be in trouble for the next 15 minutes.
Absolutely. Mom and dad being the referees in this analogy.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, just to be clear.
Yeah. I'm sure these refs are loving the thought that they're the parents of this game.
Yes.
Here's a lob attempt. That's off the bar. And we are about out of time here in the first quarter. Japan will hang on, and they take a 2-1 lead after 1 here in the first game of day 5 at the FINA Women's Intercontinental Tournament. We'll take a break and return here to UC Davis. Stay with us. You're watching live on USA Water Polo TV. Second quarter underway. Japan and China, and Japan in front 2-1, but China controls the opening sprint. And we get things going here.
Greg, it's going to be hard not to cheer for China as the game goes on because the stands continue to fill up with fans of Team China, and I think we'll start hearing some more chants. If they can get some goals and get some scoring going here, I think they can get the crowd involved.
Yeah, expecting bigger crowds here on the weekend, usually how these events work. Here's an exclusion now against China, so a 6-on-5 for Japan. Now we'll send off Ziwen. Power play chance now for Japan, and hoping the Team USA crowd builds as well.
Yeah.
Going to be a solid game with Australia coming up at 7:10. Here's an outside shot and a score. Power play strike is there for Akari Inada. And a 3-1 lead for Japan.
Well, they get the power play off the exclusion there. And on the power play, you see a shift on offense here as we get a second look. A little 6-in action. And you get guy strike in center and bars it in for a beautiful shot. And there's the difference early in the quarter here, Greg. China has a chance to tie it on their first possession. Instead, they lose it, and now you're down 3-1. And again, first time we may be able to say this week, will the crowd be a factor if they can get the crowd involved in this?
Yeah, you are exactly right.
Yeah.
We saw when Team USA took on China, it felt very loud for Team China during that game for stretches. And, it could be a difference maker here if they can string together something to give their fans something to cheer about.
Right. And like you said, potentially I think today and tomorrow in the Australia-USA games, there's a long-standing rivalry between those two countries, and we could see a lot of USA chants in the crowd as well.
A lot of commotion there, middle of the pool. This will be an exclusion, another power play. But they're going to force the ball back out, so taking away that quick opportunity. And the exclusion there against China and Deng Yu. Power play coming here. Japan ahead 3-1, looking for more.
Going
to get another here, 6-on-4. So over-aggressive defense here from China. That's Guaning going off. Field block, nice job by China. Down 2 players on the 6-on-4. They turn away Japan.
I'm going to need to call our friend James Graham on this, but I'd love to see the statistics on converting 6-on-4s versus converting 6-on-5s in these situations where multiple players are kicked out, because my sense is these 6-on-4s actually are
worse.
Yeah. A lot of times the defense gets the stop because it's just a little more unorthodox. The offensive teams know how to attack, and frankly, it's a heightened sense of urgency from the defense as well, where there's a casual sense sometimes when you're just playing the normal 5 versus 6 defense.
I'd also suggest that there's a bad pass there, an easy steal. Japan had a counter, but I'd also suggest that there's a sense of urgency on the offensive end.
Yeah.
We have to make something out of this. We have a 2-person advantage. Let's try and force something in, whether or not it's really that good of a look. And often you see the defense stop. And since you mentioned James Graham, he's in a good mood today, coming off a play-in game victory over Pomona Pitzer just down the way in Stockton this morning. So the Tigers are moving on. Nice shot there on the spin from Deng Yu, and bringing it to now 3-2 with 5:18 to play in the second quarter.
Well, you hear the crowd get excited for that one. On the skips kind of slider into the low corner, you get a second look, but a little bit of a zone here from Japan. They're chasing from behind, a wide open look, no blocker in front of her, and she puts it away. Yes, the UOP Tigers winning the first NCAA game of the women's tournament here in the States. And
next one is actually ongoing right now. Wagner and UC San Diego down in La Jolla, and at last check, Wagner ahead of UC San Diego by a goal at half.
All these teams vying for an opportunity to go to Indianapolis next week for the NCAA championships. That would start on Friday.
Correct.
A week from today on May 12th.
The exclusion on China. Another power play here for Japan. Inside the 2. Looked to be the call there as the ball turns over. China will regain possession, and those are killers. You get a 6-on-5 and don't even get a shot off.
Yeah, and that rule, kind of like the inside the crease rule for in ice hockey, right? Can't be that close to the goal inside the 2-meter line, and killer there for Japan as they could have tried to extend the lead back to 2, and now China gets a chance to tie the game.
Japan now 1 for 4 on the advantage. So getting a host of opportunities here, but unable to really take advantage. Still holding a 3-2 lead, 4.5 to play. That backhand had no shot, not much on it, and Japan will gather and look ahead.
Long outlet pass.
They are ready to counter at a moment's notice, have someone in front, but China does a nice job regrouping.
Good hustle there from China. You can see the intensity now starting to build in the game. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a rivalry. These teams usually have to match up to qualify for the Olympic Games and the Asian Games on a yearly basis, and so, coming from the same continent, this is going to be a battle all the way through.
Low skip and a save there. Yu Ting ranging left to knock it down with two hands. Under 4 to play, first half, 3-2 lead for Japan. Right after Australia and the U.S., Japan really that next best team this week in Davis.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And at the moment, as we see a contra foul, offensive foul in the center for China, I think we'll see Japan likely in that third place game tomorrow. That has almost been solidified for them with their wins. Obviously, a win here locks that up. But a bronze medal for this Japanese team here in Davis would be a big deal in their preparations. Wow. Rare
post there out of center for Miku Koida. Got the turn, but couldn't get much on the shot. No, you're exactly right, though. When you're talking about building a program, this is where you start kind of chipping away. A bronze medal here.
Yeah.
Get to a final there and start to work towards being one of the elite squads ahead of the Olympic Games. We'll get an exclusion on Japan. That's number 7, Akari Inada, and a timeout called by China with 3:05 to play. China trailing 3-2, but a great chance here on the power play. Just their second try on the advantage, 0 for 1 thus far.
0 for 1, and you see the difference in the styles of play, right? So you get this idea that Japan is moving, they're countering, they're driving. They've earned 4 exclusions, 4 opportunities on the power play. China only 1, and it's 3 minutes left here in the second quarter. You would think with a little more movement, that's the reward that you get out of this. So let's see if Team China here can put away a goal and tie the game.
We touched on this a bit yesterday, and it's probably a longer conversation, but Japan's willingness to attempt a new style and try something different. Do you get any sense that others, whether it's another country, a team in the U.S., anyone will kind of follow their way of thinking, whether it's replicating this exact style or just doing something different, setting things up for their personnel as opposed to just matching the style that everyone else plays?
Well, I actually think it's pretty it's been a trend lately that you see teams driving a lot more. I mean, if you're keeping track and you're watching all these games, you see teams driving a lot more. But at the end of the day, it's a high-risk style of water polo, and most teams are going to be risk-averse, and most teams are trying to play conservative enough just to make it through the next game. And so while Japan has played this high-risk style and this driving, this movement, and it's beautiful, it's fun to watch, all those things, they also haven't had very much success in the water in terms of results. So there hasn't been the positive reinforcement for other people to try it, and I think that's the difference. If it starts turning into wins, big save there from Japan.
Nicely done by Aoki. And you're right? Wins will validate this style, and then you might see more adoption. It's funny, too, because I don't disagree that it's a risky style. If somehow, though, you could say that they are
beautiful catch
shot
and
there.
shoot.
Yeah, Rima on the connect for a 4-2 lead. If you could somehow be risk-averse while also playing a risky style, because the way they spread it out, the way they operate is a bit risky, but then their discipline on offense does feel risk-averse. They don't take shots they don't have. They will abandon possessions. You saw it last night with Australia. They'll abandon a possession with 12 on the shot clock.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah, and I think that's the balance you're looking for. I think a lot of times when people look at this, they think it's kind of like when people talk about the Golden State Warriors, and you neglect to talk. You talk about their high-powered offense, but you neglect to talk about the fact that they do play very good defense. They're one of the most highly rated defenses in the league, and they don't just come down and play kind of this D'Antoni style of basketball, right, where you're shooting in the first 7 seconds. There is some method to the madness, and I think Japan has that as they see a good defense there, going back, stair-stepping for the steal.
That's Hosoya coming up with the steal now, waiting for reinforcements. Going to have a little bit of help weak side here if she spots it. There it is. This is going to be a look for Japan. Surging ahead now, Yamamoto. Defenders giving chase. Skipping it low. Nice save. Yu Ting to the right. That should have been a goal for Japan, and China takes one off the board.
Ooh, tough break there for Japan. A 3-goal leader would have really pushed it, but the Chinese really need to get a goal here. I think going into this half, they need this for their momentum. They've been really struggling in the front court offense here, struggling to get something going inside. And as you see, Japanese working in a heavy drop right now.
Ball comes in. Here's a chance. Working, turning off the post. So close. Shung Dun Han got a great spin and look inside, and then a battle, and now an exclusion. And a 6-on-5 coming here. Japan will call for time, and you see this so often.
Yeah.
Physical play, the goal doesn't happen, and then frustration, the tangle ensues, and one bad thing becomes two bad things.
Yeah, and it's really a shame. These are the things that really make the difference in the game, right? Because now you have an opportunity. It could have been 4-3. Ice Churns has a wide open look inside. Does a beautiful move, right? Just doesn't quite get the finish. Now you get excluded in the backcourt. Now you got to play five-person defense here. You have a goal. You could be down 5-2, and you were an inch away, right, from being down by 1.
And now Japan a chance to go ahead 5-2 here with 1:16 to play in the first half. They've been strong in this first half.
Yeah, but I think going back, Greg, I think if you can see Japan have some success in this style of play, I think more people will be willing to do it. But it's difficult. You haven't seen it. What's translated into something that's exciting to watch, but what hasn't translated is into success. Because at the end of the day, it's almost like in the NBA. Everybody's been trying to emulate this kind of run-and-gun style, but not everybody's going to be able to do it successfully, right? But people have been trying, and so then you see others trying to slow things down as we get a look inside on the post. Great play, great timeout from Team Japan.
Power play goal for Japan. And Mamori Yamamoto on the quick turn. And Japan puts another on the board. 5-2, they lead now with 1:05 to go in the first half. And this is about as close as they get to center play here from Yamamoto.
Yeah, but beautiful look inside. 4-2 pass on the 6-on-5. High percentage look. Turns and catch and shoot immediately. And great play there from Japan. And again, the last thing I'll say about this is that, maybe not the last because we're going to be talking about this. Could be a long game and it's only halftime. But you play that way when you have to play that way in a sense as well, right? Like
well, it's personnel driven, right?
Correct, yeah. And so, are you going to see countries try to play that way? Why would Serbia have to play this way if they have 6'8", 6'9", 6'6", left-handed, right-handed athletes that could all shoot from anywhere in the pool, right? It wouldn't make sense for them to do this. Right? What they're doing is working for them at the moment.
Here's a counter now. Japan again looking for more. There's another. Score it for Hosoya. She has 2 in this one, and it's a 6-2 lead. And Japan starting to flex their muscles now with 30 seconds to go in the first half. And we talk about their style. Another thing you've got to factor is the ability to swim.
Yeah.
And, of course, everyone can swim that plays this game, but they are at a different fitness level, and that's a commitment that maybe not every team or athlete wants to make as they go ahead here 6-2. And we talk about others that try it. You're right. A Serbia, no, makes no sense.
Right.
What about the team like a New Zealand? That's and no knock on them, but a team that's routinely not in the medals. Maybe you don't have the water polo tactics, but you can train as hard as Japan does or anyone else and become, this epic group of swimmers. As here's a look in front. Time winding down. 10 seconds left. Japan takes it away, and so. Jury's out, of course, until some hardware comes the way of Japan. Long lob, an easy pull down, and that brings us to the end of the first half, where it's been a solid start for Team Japan. They've already qualified for the Super Final, and now ahead of China 6-2 as we pull into halftime. We'll take a break and return with the start of the third quarter. You're watching Day 5 coverage of the FINA Women's Intercontinental Tournament live from UC Davis right here on USA Water Polo TV.
You've got your hard-earned money, but you're not sure where to put it. Well, one of the best things that you can do is put it into a credit union. Credit unions are like banks, only better. They offer higher rates of return, lower fees, and are safe and secure. And because they're not for profit, they're all about putting the people first. With credit unions, you're not just another face in the crowd, you're a member. And credit unions are member-owned and member-operated. Take control of your finances. Visit or contact Sea Air Federal Credit Union to find out all of the great reasons why you should join.
You never know where the next Olympian might be coming from, but it could be water polo, and that starts with Splash Ball. Splash Ball is a program for children ages 5 through 9 designed to introduce them to the sport of water polo while promoting water safety. Improve swimming skills and learn a sport you'll love for a lifetime. For more information, visit splashballusa.org. Welcome back to UC Davis. Third quarter about to begin as Japan leads China 6-2. Special guest joining us here in the broadcast booth, Cal head coach and Olympian Corley Simmons. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just enjoying the sights and sounds of China and Japan.
Wonderful, wonderful. Very exciting time for you. We'll talk about Cal and the NCAAs coming up here shortly. Japan off to a good start in this one here. 6-2, they lead China. And John and I were talking a lot about the style of Japan. You ever watch this team and think, I might give that a try with my squad one day?
It's tempting.
It's okay if you say no.
For sure,
Yeah.
It's tempting. It looks like a lot of fun, but as a coach, it's very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I don't think I could handle it.
Too much of a gamble for you?
For sure.
Yeah. And sweating it out on some of those offensive and defensive possessions. Here's Japan. They're in the dark caps. China in the white. Japan gets a clean look here from the outside. Nice save with the left hand. Yu Ting has done a nice job despite 6 goals scored. And this one will come back in at the 2-meter line. New shot clock here for Japan, as talked about the week they've had here in Davis. And clearly one of the top teams right behind Team USA and Australia. And those two will get together this evening at 7:10 p.m. So make sure you hang around and join us for that one. Pressure here from China a bit. Coming over, and a steal there for China. Australia played Japan last night. They, of course, used their size to their advantage. If you're China in the situation, how do you try and combat what Japan's doing to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think they just need to take movement a little bit better, prepare themselves positioning-wise. They're just caught off guard left and right and not necessarily adjusting very well to their style of play. So if they can start playing a little defense, the offensive end should kind of take care of itself. But there's a struggle at the defensive end.
6:30 to play, third quarter. Shot clock about to expire. Japan dumps that one aside. I want to thank everyone for checking us out here live on Facebook.com/USAWP. You know, we got one special viewer. A big happy birthday to Rhonda Layson, who is tuning in on the Facebook live stream. We do birthday shout-outs here, too, for USA Water Polo TV. And a near turnover here, and Japan comes up with it now. And they'll look ahead. Trouble here for China, a little underthrown, but the catch is there. Moving in, easy penalty call. Wave off the goal. There'll be a penalty shot opportunity first, and that's a part of the problem here, Coralie, for China. Japan so adept at countering, and they just do not miss a beat when it comes to getting out of the break.
No, I mean, they're almost erring on the risk side, as we've been speaking of, and it's obviously paying off, and China's not necessarily covering as well as they should be when they're taking shots on their offensive end and getting some really easy looks here. And you're right, the Chinese goalie's done a decent job, and here we go with a 5-meter save. She's done her job in the cage. They just need to kind of do their job in the half court, and they can get back into the game. A lot of time left. So.
Very prophetic. Shi Yuting comes up with a nice stop on the penalty try, and yeah, plenty of time left here. Just 2 minutes gone by, third quarter. 6-2, Japan leads, and now here's a turnover. China on the counter. Du Chen moving in, giving chase. The skip is stopped, halted there by Aoki. So a couple of nice goalie saves here back-to-back. This pro-China crowd was ready to erupt, but nothing just yet. Now Japan controls.
Yeah, if there's something to be learned today from the Chinese, it's definitely the fan experience. It's really enjoyable hearing the chants and the in-sync enthusiasm.
And another steal. This was a clean opportunity on the power play, and Japan doesn't even get a shot off. We've seen that a couple of times here. They spread themselves out. They're a little susceptible to being hit from behind without realizing it, and China does it again.
Yeah, I mean, especially with their size and length of China at times, they don't necessarily adjust to those people in the gaps. They shoot to them a little bit quicker and obviously a little bit longer than they're used to at times.
Another poor pass there into a lane and a takeaway by Japan. And then an exclusion. And we'll get a timeout called. Japan will call for time. They have the 6-on-5 coming. 5 minutes to play. Third quarter, a 6-2 lead for Japan. So exciting times for you. First year as head coach of the Cal Bears, and you head to the NCAAs. You had a nice performance there at MPSF. Some really tight games there late in that tournament. How's the team doing? How excited are you to be taking the team to Indy next weekend?
We're beyond excited. I think coming together as a squad really well at this point, and just looking forward to having the opportunity to piece it together to the full extent with Irvine next week, and then hopefully moving on to semis and create something special. But definitely been a baby steps to the finish line, and just hoping to get those last few puzzle pieces in place to create something.
Exciting stuff. I know you guys had some tough losses during the season, and sounds like you might be peaking at the right time. I'm sure that would be music to your ears here as you work towards the NCAAs.
Yes, for sure. It's always the task at hand, and the team is definitely excited for the opportunity, and we have a senior group, a veteran group that really wants to make something happen. So again, looking forward to Indianapolis and the chance to bring home the first for the Cal Bears.
Yeah, it's been the other quote-unquote big three out of the big four that have controlled the NCAA titles in women's water polo, but an opportunity here for the Cal Bears and Indianapolis starting Friday. Here's a nice turn and wave it off. Ball under is the call, so good defense there from Japan.
Yeah, she finally got her hand on the ball. I mean, she's been working hard position-wise and holding off defenders, and perimeter finally gets her the ball, and then goalie did a pretty nice job coming out, and she ran out of space there. But it's nice seeing her finally get a little touch on the ball with holding position so well thus far in this game.
Tipped out. Another from Shi Yuting on the save list. She's able to bat that one away on the quick turn. These are teams that you didn't really come across in your playing days, right? Their programs kind of came along a little bit later on.
Oh, for sure, yeah. They obviously came on strong for Beijing.
Yep.
And pretty far off the map in 2000 for sure.
And of course, Japan gearing up for their hosting opportunity coming up in 2020. Under 4 to play, the third quarter. Outside lob off the post and in. That's a nice shot. And China getting one back. A much-needed score from the captain, Ma Huan. And cutting into that deficit now makes it 7-3.
Yeah, they definitely need to get going here in terms of making a run to try to get back in this. Speed and urgency hasn't been the name of the game yet, so that needs to start picking up if they're going to get back in this.
And a beautiful shot there. The old lob off the post, just like they drew it up. A little over 3.5 to play, third quarter. Rare post up here for Japan. Trying to work at about 4 meters, and they'll be inside the 5, and just lack of awareness there. After the restart, China will take control. We've seen that a couple of times here. Always boggles the mind because when there's a stoppage and you have to know something happened there to force play to be stopped, and then a quick look would tell you you're probably at about 3.5 meters, but the shot happens anyway.
Well, I tell my athletes that all the time. How can you not hear the whistle? What's going on in your mind at this point?
You know, I guess, right, the adrenaline, you're so wound up, things are going on.
Yeah.
As a spectator, it's easy just to talk about it up here, but even if you didn't hear the whistle, there's a long-range shot over the goal. I feel like, isn't there a beat of everyone kind of backs off, and there'd be a thought like, oh, things got markedly easier for a second and a half. I wonder if there was a reason behind that, but I know it's a lot to process while it's all happening. Low skip and another for China. These fans starting to rally behind their team. Deng Yu able to hit and making it now 7-4 with 2:28 to play. So plenty of time left in this one for China to stage a rally.
Yeah, definitely. That was a nice shot. Those low skimmers are hard to get to. She's been a little bit vulnerable to those in this game, and I think if they continue to put the ball in net like that, she's going to have a hard time getting to those balls.
Unable to come up with a stop there was Aoki, and now just a 3-goal game. Good look underwater on the restart. Japan now will put things in play, see if they can get back in an offensive groove. Ordinary outside try, a save and a gather. And China looking to counter here. Another goal here, and get the sense this crowd really starts to light up behind Team China. Step out, skip, and a save there. Aoki saw that one from distance. Japan now on the attack. They've played a bit riskier in this game than they did against Australia. See your lob attempt. A shot like that, for example, wouldn't have happened yesterday. They were very risk averse. If there wasn't a good look in the first 15 seconds of the clock, they were content to dump it aside. So I think gambling a bit more here against China, maybe it's paid off with a 7-4 lead, but now opening themselves up here to China to kind of rally in this game. Here's a look inside, hook shot, save. Tried a scooping motion to put that one home and tipped out. It'll stay in for China.
Well, they're definitely going for those ball side drives. As the ball comes out, they have that short release, looking for that early offense, and China kind of just giving up that lane pretty early, and again not adjusting to that motion, to that movement, and they're getting some easy looks, and then sometimes some of those entries to some exclusion. So again, that adjustment necessarily hasn't happened yet.
But if you look at this third quarter, right, and you're China, kind of the anatomy of a comeback here, right? They were down 5, and you're not going to get it all at once. They've kind of chipped away here, put themselves in a decent spot for the fourth.
Doesn't look like number 6 knows she's out. We're probably going to be seeing a penalty shot here. Here we go.
And there it is. And this has happened before, not to be a broken record, but we saw this yesterday where someone excluded, doesn't realize they're out. The coach and you, of course, cringing again, because I'm sure you've seen it at some point in your career where someone didn't know they were supposed to leave, and now it results in a penalty and perhaps an easy score here for Japan.
correct. And if there's one thing universal in this sport is the sound of the whistle. And there's a whistle blown multiple times, and hands being thrown up in the air, throwing out numbers, and people yelling. You probably should check in with your coach and or referee. It's a sure sign of something going south.
And there's a goal scored for Yumi Arima. Adds another here. And so Japan stops that run from China.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these goals are coming off some mental errors and avoidable exclusions and avoidable turnovers that, are really affecting their play.
Second look here at the penalty shot. Arima able to go to her right and bury it low. Looking inside, dangerous pass there, tipped away by Japan, and they're off to the races once more. And again, ahead of the field now, Japan breaking out with Noro, leaving defenders in her wake. The lefty skips it low and scores it. And Japan comes back with 2 straight to make it 9-4 with 23 seconds to play in the third quarter. This is a classic example of their speed. She opened up a couple of lengths with the Kentucky Derby today, to use a horse racing term, and got ahead of the crowd.
Yeah, it was off to the races. I mean, they do a good job of a little grappling, a little judo wrestling, and then a takeoff, and their 0 to 60 is pretty hard to beat. I mean, they can get their bodies moving down the pool pretty quickly, so that adjustment to get over your hips and catch the fast break isn't the easiest for longer bodies.
Time winding down in this third quarter. Clean look inside, low skip, and a score.
Yeah, it was a nice little set piece, I think. After a goal, they came down and kind of worked some movement, some staged movement, and saw that entry. It was a nice play they put up there.
Sheng Junhan getting inside and putting it low. And China getting one back here, making it now 9-5. Get a second look here. Good interior passing. Able to bury that one home, and that brings an end to the third quarter. A 9-5 lead for Japan going to the fourth. Well, Corley Simmons, always a pleasure to talk with you, and excited for Indianapolis next week. Good luck to the Cal Bears getting things started on Friday.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and the game this evening with Australia. So
Excellent.
Go USA.
Good stuff. All right, we'll take a break and return with the fourth quarter. Stay with us.
So, you've got your hard-earned money, but you're not sure where to put it. Well, one of the best things that you can do is put it into a credit union. Credit unions are like banks, only better. They offer higher rates of return, lower fees, and are safe and secure. And because they're not for profit, they're all about putting the people first. With credit unions, you're not just another face in the crowd, you're a member. And credit unions are member-owned and member-operated. Take control of your finances. Visit or contact Sea Air Federal Credit Union to find out all of the great reasons why you should join.
You never know where the next Olympian might be coming from, but it could be water polo, and that starts with Splash Ball. Splash Ball is a program for children ages 5 through 9 designed to introduce them to the sport of water polo while promoting water safety. Improve swimming skills and learn a sport you'll love for a lifetime. For more information, visit splashballusa.org. Fourth quarter underway, and Japan picking up where they left off. The low skip is turned aside. Japan scored 9 goals, but you've got to give credit to Shi Yuting, the keeper for China. She has had a heck of a day, turning aside some shots in difficult situations.
No doubt, Greg. And when you see, first of all, welcome back. Thanks for
thanks.
The third quarter break.
Got to thank Coralie Simmons for that one.
Yeah, thank you to 2000 Olympian silver medalist Coralie Simmons, also our USA Junior National Team head coach and Cal head coach. She wears many hats. Good to have her here, but it tends to be the case where you see these goalkeepers rack up a lot of saves. When your team doesn't play very good defense in front of you, you're going to have to make a lot of saves to keep it competitive. So you start getting a lot of this. You really start seeing the stats being bloated, and then really you start underappreciating some of the better goalies in the world who don't make the same amount of quantity of saves, but don't have to because their team's playing good defense.
Shi Yuting now 13 saves
wow.
for Team China, so she has been pushed into service, to put it mildly.
Pushed into service, I like it.
Shot clock about to expire there. Again, Japan out in front. Nearly dragged down from behind, lost control, and Yuting comes up with it. Don't forget, this is the first of 3 on the day. Coming up next, Kazakhstan and Canada. Canada playing their best water polo last night in a 1-goal loss to Team USA. And then we close it out 7:10 p.m. tonight, Australia and Team USA. A preview of our gold medal match, which will happen tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. It's all live right here at facebook.com/USAWP at the UC Davis Shaw Aquatic Center.
Yeah, lots of back and forth action going here the last minute or so. And the Japanese coaching staff, I got to give them credit. There's amazing discipline on that side. They never react to the official, never react to what's going on, and they keep playing the same style and same tempo. Really, more than the style, more the tempo does not stop for 4 quarters.
Poor pass attempt, easy steal. And we were talking NCAA water polo with Coralie Simmons.
Yep.
Told you Pacific is in via their play and win, and now just ending down in La Jolla, the Wagner Seahawks defeating UC San Diego by a goal, and they move on to the final 8 in Indianapolis. So our field is fully set now. Wave off the backhand. That'll be an offensive, but we now know the final 8 here heading to Indy.
That's
starting
right.
in Friday.
2 playing games. Now you got a final 8, and the real interesting about those quarterfinals next Friday, Greg, is for the first time ever for women's NCAA water polo, you lose, you go home.
Yeah.
There are no consolation games next week, and so really the heightened sense of urgency to win those games and knowing that it's your last chance to play in this season will be there, and I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Should be an exciting 3 days of water polo. And talking with coaches around the country, we had Jamie Wright on yesterday. Counterattack. He was hard pressed to think of a year where there was more depth in women's college water polo than there is in 2017.
Yeah. I think he's right, and part of that is what you're seeing here, to be honest with you, Greg, is the international aspect. You're seeing more and more international players wanting to play women's. Oh, great kick-out pass. Goal's wide open.
Don't get a shot off just yet. There it is. But hang on, they're going to wave that one off. Grab of the suit before they can redirect that ball in. And now a long outlet. So a couple of goals here for China have been taken off the board due to contra fouls. Stop and go off the post. Nice opportunity there for Suzuki, but she couldn't connect.
Yeah, we're talking about it. I mean, there's a lot of players on these teams here other than USA who play in the USA NCAA college ranks, and that's or had played in the past or matriculated from there, because as we've seen, as the ball goes back into 2 meters for China, good crash there from Japan, you can't find a better women's water polo league in the world outside the NCAA, and it's really the highest level of women's water polo that exists. So more and more players are gravitating towards the league, hence the depth, hence the higher level of competition.
A little under 4.5 to play in the fourth quarter, a 9-5 lead for Japan. Goalie out quite a bit again. Here's a lob attempt, and reading it well is Miyu Aoki. But again, looking to counter. They're all about the counterattack here for Team Japan. Keeper comes up with that one, losing control there on the far side was Sakanue.
I'll give it to China, too. They have not stopped trying. I don't think their fitness level is where it needs to be to compete for 4 quarters, but certainly their effort has been there. They'll probably be in shape by the end of the week,
Yeah.
by the time they leave, but maybe not
This is
at the
one
start
heck
or
of a
during.
training trip, yeah.
Yes, yes.
And China will dump that aside with the shot clock about to expire.
China's starting to run out of possessions. Mathematically, they needed a shot there. They needed a goal.
Yeah.
If they can mount this comeback.
Outside attempt, and that one sneaks past the keeper, Yumi Arima. And that's probably one of the rare shots today that Yuting should have gotten that she did not get to.
Yeah. And she even kind of put up her hand right after the goal and gave the team the kind of my bad, on that one as we get a second look here. And these are really hard shots to block for a keeper. You see the ball come up, it crosses, and then it just skims across the water there. Although she had it tracked and could have made that block, and punishing herself now, doing some lunges over there back in the cage, and feels the burden, with making all these saves. You get a good underwater look of what's happening here in Davis.
Yeah, in the third quarter, Corley Sims making the same point. Those low skimming shots, difficult for keepers to pick up.
And it's not really something you do on purpose as a shooter, right? It just kind of happens based on the water, the wind, what wave it hits, and high winds here in Davis, and that's part of the issue where you see in the wake on the water and how the ball skips.
Under 3 to play, fourth quarter. Yellow card for the China head coach. Lin Jun, lob attempt there, easy pull down.
Padding the stats now for Yuting there in the cage. Game might be out of reach, but maybe a career saves record in sight for her.
Battling for the all-time saves leader this week in Davis, or the tournament saves leader, I should say. 15 saves now.
Wow.
And an exclusion and a timeout called. Japan seeing Kana Hosoya excluded. Power play here for China with 2:20 to play. So this one just about over given the time remaining. A 10-5 lead for Japan.
I love the underwater shot, and really use GoPros now. The high definition look you get. And you take a look and you get to see these athletes really what happens underwater and what's going on, and it's not an easy game to play, Greg. And
No.
it's certainly not an easy game to play for a long time in your life, and I'm sure Coralie can talk about that now, but I still think if you dropped her in the water in this game right now, she'd be the best player in the pool immediately. I'd put my life on that. But
I would not argue with that point.
Yeah.
But in the coaching ranks now, and taking the Cal Bears back to the NCAA tournament, looking for their first ever title in program history. And medals to be decided here at UC Davis tomorrow. The action starts at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. There was a scheduled change. It was a 10 a.m. start. Everything moved up a half an hour. So a 9:30 a.m. start for our 5th place game, then 11 a.m. for 3rd place, and 12:30 p.m. for the gold medal match, USA versus Australia. .210 to play here, 4th quarter. China on the advantage coming out of the timeout.
good movement there from Japan on defense. You see lots of moving, lots of knocking down, chasing the ball, making it really difficult, trying to force a bad pass, and they do, and they get the steal. Great 5-on-6 defense from Japan.
Yeah, Miku Koida coming over for the takeaway and canceling out that power play. Again, looking to advance the ball in a hurry. Power play numbers, China 0 for 4 in this one. Japan 3 for 9. Ball tipped away on the entry pass, and China will control with 1:36 to play.
So strong showing for Japan this whole week, right? So they're going to find themselves in the 3rd place game tomorrow, an opportunity to play for a medal, qualifying for World League Super Final this June, and beginning the trek towards hosting the Olympic Games here. And
big reverse turn,
wow.
And then a penalty drawn.
Nice turn inside there. I think the coach wondering where that call was a few possessions ago, but
5 meter is on the board for Ma Huan Huan. And another one on the board for China. Too little too late here with 1:18 to play in the fourth. A 10-6 game now, Japan in front. But you're talking about the medals for Japan into that third place game and presumably the favorite to come away there with the bronze, and that would be big for their program.
Yeah. Get a second look at the captain here from Team China. Close look on the focus and the power to put that shot away. Yeah. When was the last time you could say Japan was a favorite in a water polo game? It's been some time, and so that'll be great for them as they draw another exclusion here and a timeout with a minute to go.
Their head coach, Hideo Kato, will call for time. Opportunity here to execute one last time in this one with 1:01 to play in the fourth and a 10-6 lead for Japan over China. Kazakhstan and Canada to follow. And then Team USA and Australia, 7:10 p.m. Pacific. And what a thrilling finish last night. Team USA, Melissa Seidemann hitting with 1 second left.
Yeah.
Kind of a broken play there to complete the comeback. Team USA trailed 3-1 at half, worked their way back in the second half, and Seidemann hits essentially at the buzzer to take it for the USA squad.
Yeah, that was really neat experience for, I think, so many of the young girls on that team, right? So you have Melissa Seidemann, two-time Olympic gold medalist, right? Just a veteran, leader on the squad. She gets the game winner, but for everybody else in the pool, and for Georgia Phillips in the cage, 13 saves to guide her team to that 1-goal victory against a rival Canada on Friday night under the lights in your home country. That's a really, really cool experience.
Out of the timeout, 6-on-5 for Japan. And they scored power play goal for Japan from the far side. That's Masaki Noro, the left-hander. Second goal of the match for her. Makes it 11-6 Japan.
I like the shot from Noro there. A little bit of a no-look. You take a second look at the shot at this angle. She passes it, gets it back, kind of looks away, and then puts it right over the goalkeeper's head.
And we talked a lot about that angle and going cross cage versus going near side. She kept it near side and worked to her advantage.
Yeah, no doubt. And maybe she didn't do it on purpose, but we'll, if her coach is wise, they'll take a look at that in the video session and discuss it.
Another steal here. Japan forces the turnover. And they continue to work despite this one not being in doubt, still playing, still advancing the ball on the counter now. China able to get back. This one comes over the top. Quick turn, lob, and a save. Yu Ting with another. And that should be the final possession here for Japan, barring a turnover. Here comes China now on one more attack. Ma Huan Huan working in. Shot clock off. She'll go low skip. Easy save there as Japan has brought on Yuka Kamotashiro, the backup. She'll let it fly. The skip dies in the water, and that's the final. Japan takes this one in convincing fashion, 11-6 over China. They advance to our third place game tomorrow on the final day of competition. Strong outing for Team Japan, led 2-1 after one, and they kept it rolling from there. China with a strong effort from Shi Yu-Ting, 15 saves in the cage. Miyu Aoki with 8 saves for Japan. Also, Japan paced by 2 goals from Chiaki Sakano and Masaki Noro, but it's Yumi Arima with 3 that leads the way. So the final 11-6 coming up next. Canada, Kazakhstan. We'll have that at about 5:50 p.m. Pacific time. So come back and join us for John Abdu, Greg Meskel signing off here on USA Water Polo TV.